settle in now and let the room around you become quiet. Tonight, we are going into a winter valley where a frozen river runs like a pale road through the dark forest. Snow has covered the banks. The reeds stand stiff and silver near the ice, and the cold air moves low over the water as if the whole valley is breathing slowly beneath the moon. You are far from the last village, with daylight fading behind the trees, and before night closes fully, you must make camp beside the frozen river. Before we begin, if you enjoy quiet sleep stories like this, you can subscribe for more calm journeys, peaceful cold weather stories, and relaxing bedtime narration. You can also leave a comment and tell us where you are listening from, what time it is where you are, and what winter story you would like to hear next. It is always wonderful to see how far these stories travel around the world. Now, get comfortable, let the room around you grow quiet, and allow the story to begin. The river has been beside you since afternoon. At first, you could only hear it under the snow. A low, hidden movement beneath ice, deeper than wind and softer than branches. Then the trees opened, and you saw it. A wide frozen bend stretching between dark spruce and pale banks, its surface covered in snow, except where the wind had polished the ice into blue-black glass. Under that glass, somewhere below, water was still moving. That is why the river feels alive, even in winter. The land around it is still. The fields above the valley are buried. The smaller streams have vanished under snow. The footpaths have become uncertain lines between trees. But the river continues beneath its roof of ice, slow and unseen, keeping direction when everything else has been covered. You have been following it carefully, not walking on it, not trusting it too much. The river is useful, but it is not harmless. In some places the ice is thick and white, packed with old snow and frozen hard by weeks of cold. In others, darker patches reveal where the current runs stronger underneath, thinning the surface from below. Near bends, near rocks, near fallen trees, the river keeps secrets. So you walk along the bank, not the center. The afternoon light is already weakening. Winter does not give long evenings. The sun has slipped behind the ridge, and the valley has filled with blue shadow. Each breath leaves your mouth as a cloud. Your boots sink through crusted snow with a quiet break at every step. The straps of your pack pull at your shoulders. Your hands are stiff inside gloves, and the cold has begun to settle into the knees. You stop at a bend in the river, where the bank rises slightly above the ice. The place is sheltered by spruce trees on one side and by a low ridge of snow on the other. Driftwood has gathered near the bank, caught during warmer months, and left there when the river dropped and froze. Some pieces are rotten and wet, but others are raised above the snow, gray and dry under bark. A fallen spruce lies behind the bank, its branches still thick enough to cut the wind. You stand still and listen. The river answers from under the ice, not loudly, not constantly. A deep, distant creek moves through it, then fades. The sound is not breaking. It is pressure shifting, ice adjusting, water moving below. It travels under your boots and into the quiet air. The first time you hear it, your body tightens. Then you listen longer and begin to understand that the river is not warning you away. It is only reminding you that it is there. This bend can become camp, not because it is perfect, because it gives enough. The bank is raised, so cold air can slide lower toward the river instead of pooling directly under you. The spruce trees block the wind from the north. The fallen trunk can become part of a shelter wall. Driftwood can feed a small fire. Snow can be shaped into a barrier. The river can offer water, but only if you melt snow or chip ice carefully away from danger. You put down the pack. The moment the weight leaves your shoulders, your body wants to rest. But rest before shelter is a trap. In deep cold, the body lies convincingly. It says sit, stop, only for a moment. But a moment can become long enough for warmth to drain through boots, gloves, clothing, and snow. So you begin, slowly, before the light goes. Chapter 1. The bank above the ice. The first task is choosing the exact place to sleep. You walk the bank in a slow half circle, studying the snow and the trees. Too close to the river, and the cold rising from the ice will reach through the night. Too far back, and you lose the shelter of the bank, the supply of driftwood, and the clear sound of the river that can tell you when the valley changes. Near the fallen spruce, the ground is slightly higher, protected by branches, with a shallow hollow where snow has not gathered as deeply. You kneel there. The snow is deep, but under the surface, you find a layer of old needles and frozen earth. It is not soft, it is not warm, but it is out of the wind, and that matters more than comfort now. You use a branch as a scraper, clearing an oval space just large enough to lie curled on your side. You do not clear down to bare ground everywhere. The snow around the edges will help you. You only remove what would melt under you or press dampness into the bedding. The cleared snow is pushed outward, forming a low crescent wall toward the river. Already, the place feels different. A hollow has a way of becoming a promise. You gather spruce boughs next, not cutting from the living tree more than necessary, but taking lower dead branches, storm-broken pieces, and a few green boughs from where the fallen spruce has already given them. The green branches are springy and resinous. They smell sharp when bent. You lay them across the sleeping place with the cut ends outward and the soft tips inward, layer after layer, each one crossing the last. The bed rises slowly. This is the most important warmth you can build before fire. The ground steals heat without drama. It does not howl like wind or sting like frost. It simply takes what touches it. A good bough bed is not decoration. It is distance. A handspan of needles and trapped air between body and frozen earth can change the whole night. You press your palm into the finished layer. It gives slightly. Better. You add a second layer near the hips and shoulders, where the body will press hardest. Then you cover the top with loose, dry needles scraped from under the fallen tree. Some are damp, You discard those. Some are dry enough, preserved beneath branches and old snow. Those you keep. The sky dims further. You work faster now, but not carelessly. The shelter takes shape against the fallen spruce. Long branches lean from the trunk to the snow wall, creating a sloped roof that will catch falling snow and turn it into insulation. Smaller branches fill the gaps. You press snow along the outside, packing it gently so it seals without collapsing the structure. The open side faces the fireplace, not the wind. A camp is a conversation between heat and shelter. The shelter holds heat from leaving too quickly. The fire gives heat without entering the shelter and filling it with smoke. The bank blocks the wind. The river gives open space, but also cold. Each part must be placed in relation to the others. You step back and look at what you have made. From the river, it would be difficult to see. A low, dark shape against the fallen trunk, snow packed along its sides, spruce branches breaking the outline. From inside, it is barely large enough, but it has a roof, a bed, a wall, and a place for warmth to gather. The river creaks again. This time, you do not flinch. You answer by gathering wood. Chapter 2: Driftwood and the First Fire. The best driftwood is not the easiest to reach. Some pieces lie half buried near the ice, pale and tempting, but too close to the river's edge. Snow there may cover weak places where the bank overhangs, or where melt and refreeze have left empty pockets. You choose from the higher line instead, where spring floods once left branches tangled in roots, and where the wind has kept the upper pieces dry. You test each piece by sound. A dull bend means dampness. A clean crack means the inner wood may burn. You gather thin, dead twigs first, then finger-thick sticks, then a few larger pieces you can split with your knife, and a stone. The outer wood is cold and gray, but inside some of it is pale and dry enough to catch. You shave curls from one piece, letting them fall onto a strip of bark kept out of the snow. Your hands ache. You stop often to warm them under your arms before continuing. Fine work in deep cold has a limit. Fingers that no longer feel cannot shape tinder, strike sparks, tie cord, or hold a cup. So every few minutes you pause, breathe slowly, flex each finger, and bring feeling back before it leaves too far. The fireplace is a shallow pit in the snow just beyond the shelter opening. You clear down to frozen earth and lay 2 wrist-thick pieces of wood as a base, so the fire will not drown in its own meltwater. On top of that, you place bark, shaved curls, dry needles, and the smallest twigs. A few flat stones from the bank make a partial ring, not decorative, only practical. They hold heat and block wind at ground level. The first spark vanishes. The second glows for a breath, then dies. The third catches in a curl of shaved wood. You shield it with both hands and lower your face close enough to feel the faintest warmth. Your breath must be gentle. The flame is not a thing yet. It is only a possibility trembling in orange. You feed it one shaving, then another, then a twig so thin it feels almost useless. The flame accepts it. The fire grows slowly, quietly, with no bright leap. That is good. A winter campfire should be built the way sleep comes in a safe place, not suddenly, but steadily enough to trust. When the first real warmth reaches your hands, it hurts. The skin stings. The knuckles pulse. The fingertips seem to wake from far away. You hold them near the flame, then turn them, then draw them back before the heat becomes too much. Cold teaches moderation, even in warmth. The firelight touches the snow wall and paints it amber. Beyond that glow, the river is blue and black under the evening. The ice does not shine evenly. It holds old snow in ridges and wind-polished streaks. And now, the fire reflects faintly in one dark patch near the bank, trembling as if the water below is looking back. You do not make the fire large. A large fire would need more wood than you can safely gather in the dark. It would melt the snow wall too quickly. It would throw sparks into the spruce roof. It would make the camp visible from farther down the river. This fire is small, protected, and patient. You set 2 larger pieces at the edge, so they begin drying before they are needed. Then you fill the cup with snow. Snow is deceptive. A cup full of snow becomes a finger of water. You add more and wait. Add more and wait. Steam begins to lift. The water tastes faintly of smoke and metal, but it is warm enough to soften the throat. You drink slowly. Warm water is not food, but the body welcomes it as if it were kindness. After drinking, you place 3 smooth stones near the fire, turning them often. They will go into cloth later, near your feet inside the shelter. Not hot stones, warm stones, safe stones, the kind that hold the memory of fire after the flame lowers. The valley darkens. The river speaks beneath the ice. A long, low note moves under the frozen surface and fades into the banks. You listen. The camp is small, but it has begun to answer the cold. Chapter 3. The river under the ice. Night beside a frozen river is never completely silent. The forest may sleep. Snow may soften the branches. Wind may pause between the trunks, but the river keeps a hidden life under the ice, and every so often that life makes itself known. A creak travels from upstream, then a hollow knock beneath the surface, then nothing, then much later, a deep shifting sound, like a door moving in a house too far away to see. You sit near the fire and learn not to fear each sound. The river is not breaking open, it is adjusting. Ice expands and contracts with temperature. The current presses from below. Snow adds weight above. The bank holds, releases, holds again. These sounds are part of the place. To ignore them would be foolish. To fear them, all would exhaust you. So you listen with care and let the body understand the pattern. Your camp is set back from the edge, high enough on the bank, with the shelter opening angled away from the river wind. Still, cold from the ice reaches you differently than forest cold. It comes low and broad, spreading through the valley floor. You feel it most when the fire lowers, or when you turn your back too long toward the river. You add another stick. The flame rises briefly, then settles. The warm stones are ready now. You wrap them in cloth and carry them into the shelter one by one. They go near the foot of the bough bed, not touching bare skin, not placed where they can melt snow into the bedding. Their warmth is modest, but it changes the feeling of the shelter immediately. You crawl inside and test the bed. The spruce boughs hold you above the cold ground. The roof presses low, close enough to make the space feel contained, but not trapped. The snow packed along the outer wall blocks most of the wind. The fire outside glows through the entrance like a small orange eye. You can sleep here, not deeply yet, but enough. Before lying down fully, you go out once more to prepare for night. You bank the fire so it will burn slowly. Ash is pulled over part of the coals. The larger drying sticks are moved closer. A few pieces of kindling are tucked beneath the shelter roof near the entrance, where they will stay dry, but not too warm. The cup is turned upside down so frost will not fill it. Then you look at the river. The moon has risen behind thin cloud. The ice is pale now, not white, not blue, but a cold silver that seems to hold its own light. Reeds near the bank cast thin shadows on the snow. Farther out, the dark patch of polished ice reflects the sky like a broken mirror. You imagine the water moving under all of it. Slow, black, patient. That thought should feel unsettling, but after a while, it becomes calming. There is movement beneath stillness, life beneath ice, direction beneath the covered world. You return to the shelter. Inside, the air is colder than a room, but warmer than the open bank. The cloak wraps around you. The bough bed shifts under your weight. You pull your knees toward your chest and tuck your hands close. The warm stones near your feet radiate gently through the cloth. You breathe into the wool for a few breaths, then turn your face slightly so moisture does not gather too much near your mouth. Small adjustment, small comfort. Outside, the fire lowers. The river creaks once more. This time, the sound feels like part of the lullaby of the place. Chapter 4. The Long Watch of Cold. You wake before midnight because the fire has changed. Not gone, changed. The light outside the shelter is dimmer, redder, lower. The air near your shoulders has cooled. The warm stones at your feet still hold a little heat, but less than before. The body knows these things before thought shapes them. You open your eyes into darkness and listen. The river is quiet. The trees are quiet. The shelter roof gives one soft tick as frost settles on a branch. You crawl out carefully. Cold enters the cloak at once. You move before it can settle too deeply. At the fire pit, the coals are alive under ash, glowing in dark red patches. You add dry needles, then a few shaved curls, then one thin twig. fire returns slowly. You cup your hands around it until the first flame grows stable. This is the work of the night, not building everything again, keeping enough alive. When the fire is steady, you warm the stones again. You drink more hot water. You press your gloves near the edge of the heat to dry the damp along the fingers. You do not rush, because rushing in the dark leads to dropped tools, burned cloth, wet bedding, wasted fuel. The river makes a louder sound. You turn toward it. A crack has traveled somewhere under the ice, long and low, fatting downstream. The surface remains still in the moonlight. No water shows. No edge breaks. You watch for a while anyway. The camp is far enough from the bank, but awareness is part of shelter too. After the sound fades, the quiet feels deeper. You sit on a small piece of driftwood and let your breathing slow. The fire warms your knees. Your back remains cold. You turn slightly, then slightly again, sharing the heat across the body. Above the opposite bank, stars appear through torn cloud. Not many, only a few, enough to show that the storm sky is thinning. You think of the path tomorrow, then stop yourself. Night is not a good place to solve tomorrow. The mind becomes less accurate when tired and cold. It turns distances longer, risks larger, hopes brighter, fears heavier. Better to answer what is real now. Fire, shelter, water, body, river, wind. You take inventory without words. The shelter is holding. The bough bed is dry enough. The fire is alive. The cup is not frozen. Your gloves are damp, but improving. The wood pile is small but usable. Your feet still feel warmth. Your breathing is steady. Enough. You return to the shelter before comfort keeps you outside too long. The body can be fooled by firelight. It wants to stay near flame, but the shelter holds warmth longer than open air. You carry the stones back, place them carefully, and lie down again. Sleep comes in a thin layer. A little rest, then waking. A small adjustment, then rest again. This is not failure. This is how winter sleep often comes when you are outside. The body keeps watch in quiet ways. It wakes when the fire changes, when the feet cool, when the wind shifts, when the shelter asks for attention. Each time you answer. Each time the camp remains. Chapter 5. When the snow begins again. Near morning, snow returns. You hear it before you see it. A soft, grainy whisper across the roof of branches, different from wind, lighter than falling clumps from trees. The entrance grows dimmer. The fire glow becomes blurred, as if someone has placed a veil between flame and shelter. For a moment, you do nothing. The snow is gentle. Then it thickens. You rise and check the camp. The fire is low, but protected. The snow wall catches the flakes and grows smoother. The shelter roof begins to hold a new layer that will insulate if it does not become too heavy. You brush some from the weakest branches and press the rest into the outside wall, using the storm's offering before it becomes a problem. The river disappears behind falling snow. Only the nearest ice remains visible, a pale flatness fading into gray. The opposite bank is gone. The trees across the water are gone. The valley has narrowed to the circle of your camp, and the sound beneath everything. The river still moves under ice. Even when you cannot see it, you feel it there. You melt snow for water and drink before hunger can become sharp. There's a little food left, enough to warm near the fire and eat slowly. The simple act of eating while snow falls gives the morning shape. Your hands around the cup, your boots near the stones, the shelter behind you, the fire before you, the frozen river breathing under its white roof. Snow covers your old footprints. This makes the camp feel hidden again. It also makes the world beyond less certain. You accept both. The plan to move today becomes less urgent, then uncertain, then unwise. Deep, fresh snow will slow every step. The riverbank path may hide weak edges. The sky gives no clear promise. The camp is known. The camp has held. The camp can be improved. So you stay. That decision brings relief. Not because staying is easy, but because indecision spends warmth. Once the choice is made, the body can work. You gather more wood while the snowfall is still light enough to move through. You stay close to camp, always keeping the fallen spruce in sight. Driftwood, half buried in snow, is pulled free. Dry inner pieces are split. Wet pieces are stacked near the fire to steam and dry slowly. More boughs go onto the bed. Another snow wall is built on the riverside to soften the cold coming off the ice. The work becomes rhythm. Step, break branch, listen, return, feed fire, pack snow, warm hands. Again, by midday, the camp has become stronger than it was the night before. The shelter is lower but warmer. The wind has fewer places to enter. The fire pit is better drained. The snow wall reflects some heat back toward the entrance. The bough bed is thicker beneath the hips and shoulders. You sit by the fire and feel tired in a clean way. The tiredness of useful work. The river makes a small sound under the ice, almost like a knock. You answer by resting. Chapter 6. The Blue Hour on the River. In late afternoon, the snow stops again. Clouds begin to lift from the valley, and the world turns blue. Not the blue of sky, the blue of snow in shadow, of ice under thin light, of air so cold it seems to have color. The river appears slowly as the falling veil clears. First the near bank, then the reeds, then the dark ice patch, then the far trees, heavy and still. Your camp glows amber against it all. A small fire, a low shelter, a wall of snow. A thin line of smoke moving upward until the cold air bends it into the trees. For the first time, you see the camp as a whole. It looks fragile. It also looks enough. You spend the blue hour doing the quiet tasks that make night easier. The cup is filled with clean snow for melting later. The driest wood is placed within reach. entrance is widened slightly before it can freeze too narrow, then shaped again to block the wind. The warm stones are chosen and set near the fire. Your gloves are dried as much as they can be. The cloak is shaken free of frost. As you work, the river changes sound. The ice grows colder with evening. It tightens. Creeks travel farther now, sometimes beginning upstream and passing under the bend like a slow message. One sound is so deep that you feel it through the soles of your boots. You stand still. The surface holds. The reeds do not move. The bank remains firm. After a while, you breathe again and continue. This is how you learn to live near ice, not by pretending it is safe, not by fearing it constantly, but by paying attention. The river is part of the camp, even at a distance. It gives water, direction, reflection, and warning. It also asks respect. Darkness gathers. The blue fades toward black. You eat the last warm portion slowly, saving a little for the deepest part of night. The fire is banked earlier now, with more thought. You no longer feel new to the camp. Your hands know where things belong. Your body knows the distance between fire and shelter, between shelter and woodpile, between woodpile and bank. Familiarity returns warmth in its own way. The second evening beside the frozen river feels less like being caught and more like being held in a hard place you have learned how to answer. When the first star appears above the far trees, you are already inside the shelter. The fire glows outside. The warm stones rest near your feet. The river settles under ice. The night begins more gently than the last. Chapter 7. The camp that learns your shape. By the second night, the camp has taken on the shape of your needs. The bough bed is thicker where your body presses hardest. The entrance is angled so you can reach the fire without crawling fully into the wind. The wood pile sits under the roof edge, close enough to find in darkness. The snow wall has been repaired where heat softened it. The stones warm in a pattern you understand now, first near the flame, then turned, then wrapped, then placed near the feet. Nothing is luxurious. Everything is useful. You lie in the shelter and listen to the fire lowering outside. The sound is small, a soft crackle, then a pause, a coal settling, a faint hiss from wood that was almost dry, but not completely. Beyond that, the river speaks in long intervals, each creek separated by enough silence that the mind can drift between them. Your breath warms the space near your face. You turn slightly so the moisture does not gather too heavily in one place. The cloak holds around you. The spruce roof smells stronger in the enclosed air, resin and cold needles, and faint smoke woven together. Your hands are no longer clenched. Your feet, near the stones, are not warm exactly, but they are no longer painful. This is the body's winter gratitude, not comfort, relief. Outside, clouds move away from the moon. Pale light enters the shelter through the low opening, not enough to see clearly, only enough to turn the snow wall silver. The fire has become mostly ember. You will wake later to tend it. You know this. The knowing no longer troubles you. Sleep can include waking. Rest can include listening. Safety can include attention. The camp has taught you these things. A branch drops snow somewhere behind the shelter. You identify the sound without opening your eyes. Not danger, only weight releasing. A small crack comes from the river. Not danger either, only ice tightening. The wind touches the outer wall and passes over. The wall holds. Your thoughts become slower. Images from the day pass through and fade. Blue ice, driftwood, steam from the cup, the snow wall glowing amber, your hands pressing branches into place, the dark line of water under ice that you never see but always sense. You do not need to make meaning from them. They are only the day settling into memory. The fire outside lowers further. You wake enough to know it. Not yet. There is still heat in the stones, still warmth inside the cloak, still a little time before you must rise. You let yourself have that time. The river continues under the ice. The camp holds its shape. Sleep returns. Chapter 8. The quiet before morning. The coldest part comes before dawn. It arrives without wind, without snow, without drama. The sky clears, and the heat of the day, little as it was, disappears into the dark. The shelter cools at the edges. Your face feels the change first, then the shoulders, then the feet, as the stones lose the last of their warmth. You wake and know exactly what to do. There is comfort in that. You crawl out. The stars are bright over the frozen river. The fire pit is dark on top, but beneath the ash the coals are waiting. You stir them gently. A red glow appears. Tinder catches. A flame rises, small and obedient, as if it too has learned the routine. You warm your hands. Heat returns slowly. The valley is beautiful in the hardest hour. The snow reflects starlight. The river ice lies pale and still. The trees stand black against the sky. Every sound is clear. The fire, your breath, a distant branch settling, the faint underground movement of water. You melt snow and drink hot water. You take the last bite of saved food. You warm the stones again. Nothing more is needed from the night. Soon the sky behind the trees will begin to lighten, not with warmth, but with direction. The river will show itself again. The camp will emerge from shadow. You may move on when the day is stronger, or you may remain one more night if the snow says stay. That decision belongs to morning. For now, the coldest hour has been answered. You carry the stones back into the shelter and lie down one final time before dawn. The fire glows outside. The river is quiet. Your body is tired, but no longer frightened by the shape of the night. The camp has become known. That is enough to rest. Final descent beside the frozen river. Now let the story become softer. There is nowhere else to go tonight. The shelter has been built. The bough bed has been layered. The snow wall has been packed. The fire has been banked and woken and banked again. The cup has warmed the hands. The stones have held the memory of the fire. The river has spoken beneath the ice and settled back into silence. Enough has been done. Let that be true. Outside, the frozen river curves through the valley. The ice is pale under the stars. Snow rests on the reeds. The dark water moves somewhere below, hidden and patient. The trees on both banks stand still, their branches carrying winter quietly. Inside the shelter, the world is smaller. Spruce above, needles below, wool around, warm stones near the feet. A low fire outside the opening, breath moving slowly in the dark. Breathe in, pine and smoke. Breathe out, the river is far enough away. Breathe in, the shelter holds. Breathe out, the body can rest. If thoughts come, let them move like water under ice. You do not need to see them clearly. You do not need to follow where they go. They can pass beneath the surface, quiet and dark, while the snow above remains still. A thought about tomorrow can drift downstream. A memory of the coldest hour can soften under the ice. A worry about the path can wait on the far bank until morning. For now, only the shelter, only the breath, only the low fire and the frozen river. Your feet can soften first. They are no longer walking the bank. They are tucked near the wrapped stones, away from the open snow. Let the ankles loosen. Let the legs become heavy. Let the hips settle into the bough bed. Let the back release the work of carrying wood, clearing snow, shaping shelter. Let the shoulders lower. Let the hands open. Let the jaw soften. Let the eyes rest behind darkness. The camp is quiet now. The fire does not need to be bright. The river does not need to be watched. The shelter does not need to be improved. All of that can wait. The night has been answered in enough small ways. Snow wall, fire pit, spruce bed, warm water, banked coals, wrapped stones, slow breath, each one a layer between you and the cold, each one saying softly, stay. The river creaks once in the distance, deep under the ice. The sound travels through the valley and fades before it reaches the shelter fully. It is no longer startling. It belongs to the night. It is the old winter river turning in its sleep. You can turn with it, slowly, gently, without waking fully. The shelter becomes darker, but the darkness is known. You know where the roof slopes. You know where the entrance opens. You know where the wood waits. You know where the stones rest. You know where the fire glows under ash. Nothing is lost. Nothing is urgent. The cold remains outside the layers. First the stars, then the trees, then the snow, then the wall, then the branches, then the cloak, then the warmth your body has kept. By the time the cold reaches you, it is no longer sharp. It is only a cool edge around a warm center. Rest in the center. Breathe in and out. Again, in and out. The fire lowers. The river moves. The snow keeps silence. The camp holds. Sleep can come the way dawn will come later, slowly behind the trees, first as a change in the darkness, then as a gentle certainty. You do not need to call it. You do not need to chase it. Let it arrive. Let it cover the tracks of the day. Let it soften the sharp places. Let it settle over the mind like new snow on the riverbank. There is nothing more from the valley tonight. Nothing more from the ice. Nothing more from the wind. Only the hidden warmth of a small camp beside a frozen river. Only the breathing shelter. Only the quiet fire. Only the deep winter stillness holding everything in place. Rest now. The bank is sheltered. The ice is still. The coals are alive beneath ash. The river moves in darkness below, and the frozen river camp sleeps under the stars. The quiet deepens a little more. The river does not stop, but it asks for nothing. The fire does not rise, but it keeps a small red heart under the ash. The shelter does not change, but it holds its shape around you. Let the last images loosen. The blue ice can fade. The snow wall can fade. The driftwood can become only warmth remembered by the hands. The spruce roof can become only shelter. The whole camp can become one simple feeling. Low, hidden, careful, warm enough. Breathe in. The shelter is still. Breathe out. The river is quiet. Breathe in. The stones are warm. Breathe out. The night can pass by itself. The quiet deepens a little more. The river does not stop, but it asks for nothing. The fire does not rise, but it keeps a small red heart under the ash. The shelter does not change, but it holds its shape around you. Let the last images loosen. The blue ice can fade. The snow wall can fade. The driftwood can become only warmth remembered by the hands. The spruce roof can become only shelter. The whole camp can become one simple feeling. Low, hidden, careful, warm enough. Breathe in. The shelter is still. Breathe out. The river is quiet. Breathe in. The stones are warm. Breathe out. The night can pass by itself. The quiet deepens a little more. The river does not stop, but it asks for nothing. The fire does not rise, but it keeps a small red heart under the ash. The shelter does not change, but it holds its shape around you. Let the last images loosen. The blue ice can fade. The snow wall can fade. The driftwood can become only warmth remembered by the hands. The spruce roof can become only shelter. The whole camp can become one simple feeling. Low, hidden, careful, warm enough. Breathe in. The shelter is still. Breathe out. The river is quiet. Breathe in. The stones are warm. Breathe out. The night can pass by itself. The quiet deepens a little more. The river does not stop, but it asks for nothing. The fire does not rise, but it keeps a small red heart under the ash. The shelter does not change, but it holds its shape around you. Let the last images loosen. The blue ice can fade. The snow wall can fade. The driftwood can become only warmth remembered by the hands. The spruce roof can become only shelter. The whole camp can become one simple feeling. Low, hidden, careful, warm enough. Breathe in. The shelter is still. Breathe out. The river is quiet. Breathe in. The stones are warm. Breathe out. The night can pass by itself. The quiet deepens a little more. The river does not stop, but it asks for nothing. The fire does not rise, but it keeps a small red heart under the ash. The shelter does not change, but it holds its shape around you. Let the last images loosen. The blue ice can fade. The snow wall can fade. The driftwood can become only warmth remembered by the hands. The spruce roof can become only shelter. The whole camp can become one simple feeling. Low, hidden, careful, warm enough. Breathe in. The shelter is still. Breathe out. The river is quiet. Breathe in. The stones are warm. Breathe out. The night can pass by itself. The quiet deepens a little more. The river does not stop, but it asks for nothing. The fire does not rise, but it keeps a small red heart under the ash. The shelter does not change, but it holds its shape around you. Let the last images loosen. The blue ice can fade. The snow wall can fade. The driftwood can become only warmth remembered by the hands. The spruce roof can become only shelter. The whole camp can become one simple feeling. Low, hidden, careful, warm enough. Breathe in. The shelter is still. Breathe out. The river is quiet. Breathe in. The stones are warm. Breathe out. The night can pass by itself. The quiet deepens a little more. The river does not stop, but it asks for nothing. The fire does not rise, but it keeps a small red heart under the ash. The shelter does not change, but it holds its shape around you. Let the last images loosen. The blue ice can fade. The snow wall can fade. The driftwood can become only warmth remembered by the hands. The spruce roof can become only shelter. The whole camp can become one simple feeling. Low, hidden, careful, warm enough. Breathe in. The shelter is still. Breathe out. The river is quiet. Breathe in. The stones are warm. Breathe out. The night can pass by itself. The quiet deepens a little more. The river does not stop, but it asks for nothing. The fire does not rise, but it keeps a small red heart under the ash. The shelter does not change, but it holds its shape around you. Let the last images loosen. The blue ice can fade. The snow wall can fade. The driftwood can become only warmth remembered by the hands. The spruce roof can become only shelter. The whole camp can become one simple feeling. Low, hidden, careful, warm enough. Breathe in. The shelter is still. Breathe out. The river is quiet. Breathe in. The stones are warm. Breathe out. The night can pass by itself. The quiet deepens a little more. The river does not stop, but it asks for nothing. The fire does not rise, but it keeps a small red heart under the ash. The shelter does not change, but it holds its shape around you. Let the last images loosen. The blue ice can fade. The snow wall can fade. The The driftwood can become only warmth remembered by the hands. The spruce roof can become only shelter. The whole camp can become one simple feeling. Low, hidden, careful, warm enough. Breathe in. The shelter is still. Breathe out. The river is quiet. Breathe in. The stones are warm. Breathe out. The night can pass by itself. The quiet deepens a little more. The river does not stop, but it asks for nothing. The fire does not rise, but it keeps a small red heart under the ash. The shelter does not change, but it holds its shape around you. Let the last images loosen. The blue ice can fade. The snow wall can fade. The driftwood can become only warmth remembered by the hands. The spruce roof can become only shelter. The whole camp can become one simple feeling. Low, hidden, careful, warm enough. Breathe in. The shelter is still. Breathe out. The river is quiet. Breathe in. The stones are warm. Breathe out. The night can pass by itself. The quiet deepens a little more. The river does not stop, but it asks for nothing. The fire does not rise, but it keeps a small red heart under the ash. The shelter does not change, but it holds its shape around you. Let the last images loosen. The blue ice can fade. The snow wall can fade. The driftwood can become only warmth remembered by the hands. The spruce roof can become only shelter. The whole camp can become one simple feeling. Low, hidden, careful, warm enough. Breathe in. The shelter is still. Breathe out. The river is quiet. Breathe in. The stones are warm. Breathe out. The night can pass by itself. The quiet deepens a little more. The river does not stop, but it asks for nothing. The fire does not rise, but it keeps a small red heart under the ash. The shelter does not change, but it holds its shape around you. Let the last images loosen. The blue ice can fade. The snow wall can fade. The driftwood can become only warmth remembered by the hands. The spruce roof can become only shelter. The whole camp can become one simple feeling. Low, hidden, careful, warm enough. Breathe in. The shelter is still. Breathe out. The river is quiet. Breathe in. The stones are warm. Breathe out. The night can pass by itself. The quiet deepens a little more. The river does not stop, but it asks for nothing. The fire does not rise, but it keeps a small red heart under the ash. The shelter does not change, but it holds its shape around you. Let the last images loosen. The blue ice can fade. The snow wall can fade. The driftwood can become only warmth remembered by the hands. The spruce roof can become only shelter. The whole camp can become one simple feeling. Low, hidden, careful, warm enough. Breathe in. The shelter is still. Breathe out. The river is quiet. Breathe in. The stones are warm. Breathe out. The night can pass by itself.